Miraidon is the brand new Generation 9 box legendary Pokemon for Pokemon Violet. This legendary Pokemon is one of the best legendary Pokemon to exist and has insane stats. Checking out its stats on the screen, you can tell that this mon is juiced up. And it has a brand new ability, Hard Drawn Engine, which turns the ground into electric terrain when the Pokemon enters a battle, and also boosts its special attack stat on that electric terrain. Today, I wanted to share with you guys what I think the best Miraidon movesets are for competitive doubles VGC, how they work, and how to get the most out of your Miraidon on the Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet ranked ladder. And for the first Miraidon set, and probably the pinnacle of all the Miraidon sets, is going to be this moveset, where if you see the attacks, we're utilizing Volt Switch for pivoting, Electro Drift, Draco Meteor, and Dazzling Gleam. The idea behind this is really simple. You pair this up with something like Iron Bundle or any other Paradox mon specifically from the future that can take advantage of the electric terrain. And what you're going to want to do is set it up with your ability Hard Drawn Engine and then instantly use Volt Switch to get up on out of there. The good thing about that is you're going to do some extra damage with stab and choice specs, and you're going to do a ton of damage with so much EVs invested into your special attack. As for speed, you're never going to get outsped by anything other than other Iron Bundles or Flutter Mains that are also fully invested in speed and that are getting the benefit of Photosynthesis or Quark Drive. So that's pretty much the strategy with this set and many of the other sets. Is Miraidon comes in, sets up the electric terrain, gets up on out of there, and then comes on in later on to dish out some more damage. As far as the rest of the moveset, we have Electro Drift, which if you don't know, deals 1.333, that's a lot of threes, damage when it does super effective damage. So whenever you're targeting a water or flying type Pokemon, even if they're a Terra type, you're going to do significant more damage. That, and on top of the choice specs, this thing is nuts. You also have the option for Terra type Electric. I think that's probably the best one with this because you do have Volt Switch, Electro Drift. You have two other moves you could opt for if you really wanted to. A Fairy Terra type, but I honestly think the Electric, just to get it a little more boosted, is probably a lot better. Your only weakness is what? Ground, which is still kind of threatening, but you can pretty much counter for that if you play correctly. Like for example, if this is on the field with an Iron Bundle, ground types aren't really gonna threaten you that much. The next move we have here is Draco Meteor. This thing slaps with 130 base power, and you're getting stab along with the choice specs. There are very few things you aren't just gonna one-shot, and those few things are fairy types. That's pretty much it. Speaking of fairy types, I think Dazzling Gleam is probably the best fourth move slot, fourth move option for this set specifically because of the coverage it gives, and it's a spread move. Whenever in doubt, I think the fourth move should always be a spread move. It just kind of makes sense, and to have Dazzling Gleam on this that also gets boosted with choice specs, it just really rounds out this build entirely. Bouncing back to the EVs, it's a pretty standard EV set, nothing too crazy here, because if you look at it, its special attack and speed are the best stats. It does have pretty good special defense and HP, but of course its attack and defense are the lowest on this build, so you're going to want to really maximize both of its amazing stats. However, if you're one of those that wants to get those hardcore calculations down, well then the next set might be for you. So let's hop into that one right now and let's talk about it real quick. We have another timid. All of these Miraidon sets are going to be timid because speed is going to be the biggest thing on your side. You want to outspeed everything else. But other than that speed, if we look over here, we have 116 EVs in HP as well as 96 EVs in defense. And you're probably wondering why this is such a weird number and weird set. And then we have the remainder 44 in special attack, right? Well, this set is specifically created to counter Chien-Pao and Dragonite. With Regulation C right around the corner, Chien-Pao and Dragonite are a force to be reckoned with. And the thing is, like, even normal Terra type Dragonite can't one-shot Miraidon. However, if Chien-Pao sucker punches and Dragonite Terra normal extreme speeds into Miraidon, then you do get knocked out. So with this build, you're at least able to survive one turn, possibly even a Volt Switch, Electro Drift, Draco Meteor, it doesn't matter, and get up on out of there. You have leftovers here because the point of this is to take damage while dishing out damage and surviving. If If you're feeling really spicy, the fourth option here is Calm Mind. If you have nothing that threatens you, yeah, set up on them. And if the only thing that threatens you on the opposing side is a potential fake out user, then you have the Terra Ghost type to neutralize that attack. So with this moveset, it really just depends on what you are struggling with the most. If the biggest issue is the defense drop you're getting from Qianpao's Swords of Ruin, and then you're getting smashed with Extreme Speed Terra Normal Dragonite, then this might be the set for you. But let's move on to another set that's doing really well. And it's exactly like our first set. In fact, I think most of them are, but this one, the only difference is you have Overheat here, which is nuts because we have Dragon type moves and we have Electric type moves. It has pretty good coverage all around and it does tremendous damage, especially with choice specs and the ability Hard Drawn Engine. It's like Game Freak was thinking, you know, what does Dragon and Electric, you know, kind of struggle against? Ice types, it doesn't really hit ice. Maybe even Steel types, we struggle against. Grass types, we can't do any damage with an Electric type to a Grass type. Yo, let's drop Overheat onto this thing. It's pretty nuts. Same thing as Draco Meteor. It's literally just a Fire type Draco Meteor. If you wanted to, you could opt out and go for a Terra Blast on this slot to get Terra Fire, but I just think Overheat might be the better option, especially with everything else going on here in Terra Fire, just to get rid of any Dragon, Fairy, or even Ice weaknesses. But speaking of Terra types and Terra Blast, I personally think the last set might be the best. This one does not use choice specs. It does run the same exact EV spread. This one's using Life Orb, and on top of Life Orb, we are running a Terra Water type with Terra Blast because, let's be honest, none of our attacks can do any damage to ground types. In fact, we're kind of at the whim of ground types. If they switch in a ground type and we're trying to Volt Switch out and we can't, it's not that our damage is weakened, it's just that they're immune to our damage, especially from Volt Switch and Electro Drift. So having a Terra Water type Terra Blast on this thing, holding Life Orb, and the ability to swap out, you know, which moves you want to use instead of being locked in for the rest of the match is extremely advantageous. And that's why I really like the Water Terra type Miraidon and expect to see more of that. But that's going to be it for today's video on the Miraidon movesets. Let me know in the comments which one of these you like the most. Let me know if you have any of your spicy ideas of how to run a Miraidon moveset for competitive doubles VGC. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one, KO Crew.